Hi everybody. I'm gonna give everybody a couple seconds to get on here tonight and then we will start with what we're making. Don't mind my bright light. It's really dark here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania right now, of course, because it's winter. So I have my little spotlight. I'm just gonna get a couple things ready while I'm waiting here. This project was kind of like last minute, of course, like they all have been recently. Just been crazy busy. Got something to open my paint. Grab this. Give it a couple more minutes here and see if we have anybody else log on. I'm losing my voice again. I've been for the last couple of days at night losing my voice, so hopefully I make it through this video. Okay, so I am using chalk paint today, of course. Alright, so I will start, and then if you guys log on a little bit late, you know the whole thing. You can go back and watch the whole video. So today I am using some chip brushes, which you can buy at Harbor Freight. Real cheap. I think I've went over this a couple of times before in some of my other videos. You can get those. I am using the Art Minds from Michaels. I really like this paint. It's probably my favorite chalk paint. This is just your basic white. I just opened this bottle, so shouldn't be too messy. And I'm also using, for the actual chalkboard part of this project, I am using some Rust-Oleum, just the regular chalkboard black paint. And this you can get at Lowe's. I think this is like $11.99 maybe. I've tried Valspar. I do not like it, and I really like Valspar paint, so I was very surprised, but I do like Rust-Oleum. If you're doing like an actual just chalkboard to write on, this is the good stuff right here. I'll just put it up closer so you guys can kind of see there. Alright. You will also need some tape. I never mask anything off, but this I am going to. This is the frog tape. This is probably the best painter's tape that you can get. I've had, because I'm cheap, I've bought the cheap tape. It is not worth it. Go and spend a couple more dollars and get the frog tape. This one's just the thin one. So that's all you'll need for this. And you also will need a foam roller. And these here I get at Harbor Freight. They come in a pack of like 4 or 5, I think. I think I went over that before too. But just the sponge roller. You can get them at Lowe's. Harbor Freight's the cheapest. I don't know, Walmart or somewhere might have them too for pretty cheap, I would think. Dollar store maybe might even have them because they're just disposable. And then of course you'll need your little roller. Mine's a disaster because I use it like over and over again. Alright, I think that's all we'll need for, and sandpaper. I'm using 220, so it's a fine grit. It's not real heavy. It's not real gritty. So you want to use either, like, I would use anywhere between like 320 and 220 for this project. So if you have 220 laying around, that's fine. Or if you have 320, that should work too. Alright, so to start, this is, I'll show everybody what we're making. This is what we're making. Don't mind mine. Mine's a little messy now that I cleaned it off a couple of times. So what these are, or were, I should say, were just the decorative plates. I got them dirt cheap. It was right after Christmas last year, and you can kind of see they've been laying around. They're kind of like scratched up. These I got for like, oh, here, look, Big Lots, right there. Big Lots for $2, but they were like half off. So I got them dirt cheap, and I'm like, finally I'm going to do something with them. So you'll just get one of these. You can get them anywhere, any time of the year. It doesn't have to be for Christmas. This is just one that I had for Christmas. So I think the dollar store even has them. This one was originally gold, as you can see. And then I just did the chalk paint over it there. But yep, this was originally a gold one from the Dollar Tree. So you can get them anywhere. Walmart, Dollar Tree, Big Lots probably has them all year round too. So grab one of those. And the first thing I'm going to do is do the middle of the chalk. So the sign part is what we're going to focus on first. So I'm going to get my tape. And I don't scuff these. I haven't been scuffing them. They've been fine. So you don't have to sand them first or anything. Even though they are glossy, as you can kind of see, they're kind of glossy and shiny. I haven't been sanding them, and the chalk paint has been sticking fine. So I am just going to start this here, a little piece so you guys can kind of see. And I'm going to mask off just around the middle part of this, because this is the only part you want black. So I'm going to start doing that. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to actually paint around it. But you are also, if you like the chalk paint texture, you're going to want to sand it after we're all done. So it could show through. So you don't want to just go crazy and kind of, well, wouldn't be scribbling, but like just messing your paint all over your plate, because then you're going to see it later on after you sand. And this does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be really neat. If you're really particular, that's up to you. But they turn out fine with just slapping some of this on here. The only reason I'm masking this is because I'm rolling it. The chalk, if you're using chalkboard paint as a chalkboard, I would recommend rolling it. Because if not, you're going to get paintbrush strokes, and then it's going to be bumpy to write on. It's almost going to be like the brush strokes are kind of bumpy. So I would just use a roller. And it's hard to mask a circle, so don't judge me. So I'm just ripping this tape where it's sticking straight up here and kind of just laying it down. And it doesn't have to lay flat, just so you have the decent amount of that covered there. I can see spots that I went a little too far on here, so just backing it up a little bit. And I'll show you guys a secret about painting a chalk sign. I don't know how many people have asked me, you know, I made a chalk sign and I went to write on it, and it's permanent. It's on there for good. Because there is kind of a secret which I didn't know about for a while. I actually just ran across it one day on the internet, and I was like, oh crap, that's why my chalk always just is permanent on my chalk paint. Like, it was weird. Like, I almost stopped doing these because I was like, why is this chalk? It's just regular basic chalk that you should be able to wipe off. And it was like, it would wipe off, but the, like, just the residue from it would be on there, and you could still read it. So I would get so frustrated, you know, and then I would have to repaint it. And I just thought it was okay. That's just how this stuff works. And you just have to repaint it every time you want to do it. No, there's a big secret. So I will share that with you guys too at the end of this video when I go to write on it. All right. So that's pretty good. Beautiful, right? So decorative. Looks nice. All right, so the second step of this is we're going to roll our chalk paint here, our actual chalkboard. All right. And since I forgot a paper plate, of course I would have told you I forget either something or I drop something. Today I'm forgetting. All right, I'm just gonna use the lid of my chalk paint here just because I forgot a paper plate. This shouldn't be too messy, I don't think. Hopefully, right? Okay, so I am just going to get my ruler. I'm just going to make sure it's coated pretty good. Now, when you're doing this, if you look at my ruler here, it almost might look black to you guys, but this stuff looks kind of blue. Don't panic. When I first did this, I was like, why is it blue? It's not supposed to be blue. The more layers you do, the blacker it becomes. It's just what's in it. So I'm going to get my roller here, and I'm just going to roll my first coat. My first coat is not going to cover a lot. As you can kind of tell, it's just kind of there. It's not great. Everything's covered. I am going to get my paintbrush here just a little bit, just to get the edges right around in here. Hope you guys can see there. Here we go. And I'm just going to go around. But if you can see this, this is why I don't like telling people to do it with just a paintbrush. If you don't have a ruler, you can do it. It's okay. It's not going to look terrible or anything. It's just going to be bumpy when you're writing. But if you look, do you see those brush strokes right in there? That's what is going to cause the bumpiness when you're writing. So I would use a roller if you have one. If you don't, that's fine. It's okay. So I am putting these coats on pretty thick just because I'm doing this in a video and I want to make sure you guys know how to do it. So I'm just going to put it on here with the paintbrush. It's a little easier instead I just keep rolling here, and then I will roll it out. Making sure everything's coated. Hi, Jan. All right, so that whole thing's coated with a coat of the black chalk paint. And now I'm going to get my roller here, and just to get rid of all of those, as you can see, those brush marks that you see in there, that light actually shows them pretty well. You don't want to write on that. So I'm just going to get my roller gently, very gently. And it is going to take some of it off, which is okay. We're just going to do another layer. I'd rather have it smooth, do more layers and have it smooth than all the brush marks. Okay. All right, so as you can see, it did take some of it off, but it's okay. But all those brush marks are kind of gone now, so that's good. All right, so I am going to pull out my hairdryer. It's like my best friend for these small projects. And I'm going to dry this real quick, and then we'll do a second layer. that's pretty dry. You don't want it peeling off, so please make sure it's like dry to the touch. You don't want to start painting again and it coming up. So I think it's pretty dry. I'm going to try my next coat here. We're going to go with it. So just real lightly again, you're just going to put another coat on. And as you see, it's looking a little better. It's actually looking like it's covering now. Just making sure the paint isn't gathering around these corners, because then it can start ripping when the tape comes off. So just trying to be really careful here. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put this up to you guys again. As you can see now, it's kind of looking like a chalkboard a little bit more now. So that's good. All right. So I'm going to dry this one. I'm going to do one more coat. And then before that third coat dries, I'm going to actually take the tape off, just because I don't want it drying to that tape and then the whole paint will just come right off. So I'm going to dry this one. Pretty dry. It's not on my hands when I'm touching it, so that's good. And no brush strokes, it's just you can kind of see the plate is a little rough underneath, but once we have the third coat, it should look a little bit better. Okay. So third coat of the black chalk paint. If you guys hear Lainey in the background, she's snoring. Last video, she would not leave me alone, and now she's snoring in this one. So it's her bedtime. She's not a night owl at all. Alright. So this one, I'm not getting close to the edges. I'm just gonna do the little bit of the middle and make sure it's smooth a little bit. I'm not gonna take it the whole way around all the edges again, just because it doesn't really need it. I'm going to make sure no red is showing through there. We don't want that. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Okay. Look, make sure I'm not missing anywhere. I'm missing that a little bit. Good, good, good. Okay. Okay, and you can always touch it up too, if you need to. You can always do that. I'm a big fan of that. Alright, so I am just going to run the hairdryer right in the middle. I'm not going to run it around the outer edges here, just right in the middle. Okay, now it is still tacky. That's okay. I just want it dry enough that I'm not going to be making a mess. Okay, so now I am going to I only have my scissors. I usually have my little X-Acto knife thing. I don't know where it's at. Can't find it. All right, so now I just got paint all over my elbow. See, that's me right there. A mess. Okay, so we're done with this. I'm gonna set this over here. All right, so now I am going to get my scissors. This is the part that still scares me when I paint and mask and everything, is peeling off the paint that I just did. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to go around my edges. I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to actually do it because I can't really see here. But I'm going to go around my edges, and I'm just going to kind of softly just kind of go around and make sure that that paint isn't gripping to that tape. So I'm just kind of putting like a little incision on the thing the whole way around between the paint and the tape. That way when you pull the tape up, it's not taking all the paint with it. So I'm going to do that. I'll try to hold it so you guys can see it. And it doesn't have to be hard. It is still kind of wet, so that's good. Actually, it might be wet enough for me to pull it. So let me see here. I'm going to be brave. Yeah. Okay. It is still wet enough for me to pull it, so that's good. All right. I'm just going to keep pulling a tiny bit, little bit by little bit. You don't want to just rip it because it will tear it all. Just going to use my finger here. Yeah, that's ripping. So I am going to go back to doing this a little bit. There we go. I'm deep in concentration, so. Alright. It's coming off pretty well because the paint is still tacky, which is good. I'm just going to take my time. Good. Okay. Usually I don't have patience for things, but this, I just get so nervous. This makes me nervous. Tearing this stuff off of paint. This is why I don't do a lot of masking. I don't like it. If this wasn't a circle, I wouldn't be, I would have taped it. I would have just painted it. Okay. Looks like a little bit of paint got underneath the tape. Must have not had it pressed down. Grab a napkin here. It looks like it's still wet enough that I can take it off of there. There we go. And if you guys have any questions, you can just comment and I'll keep up on them and make sure I answer everybody. But this is pretty simple. Okay, so there is your middle of your plate. It's not perfect. We just didn't want it to extend up here, okay? So, looks pretty good. It's still tacky. I am going to let that part dry a little bit. Okay, so all done with that. If there's any spots where you see that you really want to go back and kind of fix a little bit or touch up, you can do that now, would be a good time. That way you're not going back and forth in between paint colors. Okay. Good. All right. It looks pretty good. I'm not going to be too picky about this one just because I'm doing this, you know, just to show you guys. All right, so I'm going to get my second color, which I'm debating what to use. I think I'm just going to use the white. I was going to try to be a little bit more colorful tonight, but I think white's going to show up the best on the red. So I'm just going to use white. All right. So you're going to get your new brush or a brush. And this is where you're kind of just going to do a dusting of chalk paint. So you're just going to dip that in there. You don't want a big like puddle of glue and just slopping it on there. You want it to be pretty light on your brush. And then that's when you're just going to kind of go around here. Both ways is fine, and it just depends on how heavy you want that on there. If you want more of the red showing, just do, oh, that light's making it really hard to see, isn't it? Move that away a little bit. Maybe not. Okay, kind of see on that side. If you want it real light, just take your brush and just go over it real lightly. If you want it heavier, like I kind of did in that spot, that's where you can kind of, you know, press a little bit harder with your brush. All right. So I'm going to try to do it from the side. You guys can kind of see the lights better. So real lightly, just get you that. And I kind of like the light feel of it. I think it looks better. So I'm just going to keep going here. And it's pretty because the outside of this is, it has a pretty like design and texture to it. So it's like scalloped. So it's giving it that really pretty look. And I'm just going to keep going. And if you see a spot where you just put it on too heavy, that's okay. That's what the sandpaper is going to be for. Just try to make sure you don't get any white or your other color on the black here, unless you want it there. Okay. So I'm just going around here. Nope. See, got a little bit of white on there. And I'm just kind of blending it into my black here so there's not a big red ring of red around the whole thing. So I'm just taking it and kind of just blending it in a little bit. I'm not a red fan. I like the gold better, but this is the one I had laying around, so figured I'd just use it. Alright, let's put a little bit more on here. And then just so I can show you guys how to use the sandpaper. If you like how it looks this way, leave it. That's awesome. It's just how everybody, you know, wants it to look. It just depends. It's totally up to you. And you can tell I only used a tiny bit of paint on my paintbrush for that. And that's another reason I love chalk paint. It goes really far. Especially if you mix it with a little bit of water. Okay. Alright, so it looks pretty good. See some spots of just plain red here. I'm trying to get there. Right. Okay. So, see if my lighting will allow me to show you guys. There we go. But you're still seeing some of the red in there. Looks really pretty. There we go. And that's how you make the little chalk sign there. Alright, so I am going to show you, I am going to kind of go around this one more time with the white paint, just so I can show you kind of the opposite effect, because right now the white paint's just gathering on those, like the pieces that are sticking up, and if you like it that way, that's awesome. But I'll kind of show you what you can do with the sandpaper too. So just a tiny bit more paint, not a lot at all. I'm just kind of dabbing the top of my paint here. That's all. And I'm just gonna put a little extra on here. So it looks more white than red. Sorry, I apologize about my light. It's just not good tonight. There we go. Bend this down a little bit. Turn you guys this way. There we go. It's a little better. Thought the light would help, but maybe not. Not so much. Live and learn, right? Okay. It's driving me nuts. Hang on, I'm gonna move it. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. You guys can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. Until I like fling my phone off of its holder. Okay. Alright. Tiny bit more. And then I'll show you guys what to do with the sandpaper. And it completely depends on what you guys want this to look like. If you want it all white, paint it. Or all one color, just paint it. Hi, Amanda. I am using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint. This is at Lowe's. I think Lowe's. I might be lying on that. It's either Lowe's or Home Depot. I know one of them carries it, one of them doesn't. I think they both carry Rust-Oleum, but one of them does not have that black, like canned chalk paint. And I'm thinking Lowe's has it. But I would, you know, if you're definitely going for that, I would maybe call Home Depot and Lowe's to see which one has it. But yeah, it's just Rust-Oleum. I have tried to use Valspar. And Valspar, I love Valspar paint. Like, that's what's on all my walls in my house. But their chalk paint, I feel like it does not stick. The coats don't go on well. It's real light, you have to do like 20 coats just to get anything. Unless I just had a bad batch of it, that could have happened too. I might try it instead of, you know, giving it a bad name. I might retry it again. But this is Rust-Oleum. I do like using that. And then the white is just the regular Art Minds, and this is from Michaels, and I think it's like originally $17.99 for this big thing of it. It's 16 fluid ounce, but if you use a 50% off coupon, or sometimes you get lucky and they have a 60, it's dirt cheap. So that's actually what I did today. But yeah, just the chalk paints and just one of these decorative dishes. This one's from Big Lots. You can get them dirt cheap. They're at like the dollar store, and that's all I used. I hope I answered your question there. All right, so as far as the paint, we're pretty much done unless there's something that I say that is bothering me already. So I'm just gonna go over here and do it real quick. Okay. I get sidetracked way too quick. It's like, ooh, shiny thing. Like, this is a shiny thing, so it's this might take me a while. Alright. Like I said, this one is not going to be perfect just because I'm doing it to show you guys real quick so this video doesn't take forever and you guys aren't like, come on lady, let's go. Alright. Okay, so got all the whites down. You can still see the red. But I'm going to show you what the sandpaper does after I dry this. So I'm going to do my dryer again. Amanda, no, that is actually, I think 3 coats is what I did. And I did it with a roller. I know if you have a paintbrush, that's fine. You can use a paintbrush, that's okay. I did use a paintbrush once, and I found out with the paintbrush, when it dries, you get the paintbrush streaks in it, and that actually makes it bumpy to write on. So I recommend using the roller. What I did was I actually used the paintbrush to paint it on, like a heavier coat, and then I rolled it just to smooth it out. So if you have a paintbrush and that's the only thing you have, that's fine. You can use one. It'll do the job. It's just a little bumpy, I noticed, to write on. But other than that, yeah, I think I did 3 coats just now. So yeah, 3 coats on this, and you can do more if you want to, but 3 seem to cover okay for this. I don't see any red through it or anything, so looks pretty good. All right, so this is all dry now. I'm gonna get my sandpaper, and I did not need this big of a piece. I waste sandpaper like crazy. I should probably stop doing that. Okay. All right, so I am using, this is 220. You can use, I would say anywhere 320 to 220 would be great. Yeah, no problem. Oh, that's awesome. Post a picture if you make one. I want to see it. That's awesome. Yeah, they're fun. They're fun and cheap. Like every project that I do is pretty cheap just because I'm cheap. I refuse to spend a lot of money. So 90% of my stuff is like just a couple of bucks when I make it. Alright, so I'm just going to grab my sandpaper using even a tiny piece. I always fold it just so you have a good grip on the other side there. And I'm just going to lightly go over it. And I'll hold this up so you guys can kind of see what it's doing here. So it's actually bringing out those raised pieces there now. Can you see it okay? Yeah, I guess you can see it. Right. What's nice about stuff that has that type of edge is you don't have to worry about taking too much off of it, because you can only reach what is not, or what is raised. So whatever's indented, you're not sanding. It's really, really cool. And this is how you can, you know, if your dressers or a piece that you're redoing, like a table, if it has real pretty like designs on it or anything like that detail, this is how you want it to stick out. So this is kind of good. You can use this for any type of project. So I'm just going to keep going here. And you do get your workout in sanding. So unfortunately, I don't too much. So, but you know, maybe I should start hand sanding more than using a power sander or an orbital sander. There we go. I'm too lazy. That's usually what I use. Alright, so I'll just stop here for a second. It's almost over halfway done with that. Make sure it's nice and good so you guys can see it. Okay. Alright. So, about half is what I did. Just looking real pretty. And I did hit right on here because this is kind of raised. So I'll probably go back and touch that up a little bit. And then this is the part that isn't done like that. See, there is a difference. This is half done. And that's not touched yet by the sandpaper. So it does give it a nicer effect, you know. You can kind of see it here. It's never as pretty on camera as it is in real life. Can never get that. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to finish the whole way around here. Kind of making a mess there because all my paint, all the sanding and everything's getting everywhere. Okay, so that's kind of how it looks like. Got that rustic look to it. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of red, but you know, there it is. Okay, so now that that's done, kind of probably maybe went over this before. So when I did this one, what I did, I wanted it to hang, okay? So before I started any of the paint or anything, I got my drill and I drilled 2 tiny holes. I'm actually going to take this out so you guys can see. This string's a little rough looking because it's been on there forever. Okay, so I drilled 2 tiny holes there. As you can see, there's one right here and one right here. All right, and that's how you hang them. So you can just stick whatever string, yarn, anything through there. If you want to make them bigger holes and hang it with burlap, you can do that too. So that's how I did it with it hanging. But all it takes is a tiny little drill. Oh, I should have showed you that way. There we go. And drilled 2 little holes in it. And then just, you can put whatever string or anything you want through it. So, I like this one a lot better than the red one. But, yeah. So, that's what it looks like. Alright, now, for the trick. As far as writing on these, okay. Where did I put my chalk? That's a whole nother thing. Let me see if it's laying here. I lose stuff all the time. Probably very entertaining to everybody. Probably like, what is she going to do next as far as losing something, dropping something, not having something? Okay. So I did find it. I'm just going to wipe this off a little bit just because there is a lot of white chalk dust on there. Okay. Alright. So, to prep your chalkboard, so if you just quit right now, like if you make this and then start writing on it, whatever you're writing is going to be not technically permanent, but even if you wipe it off with water, like a damp cloth, it's still going to be there. A very light faded, like if I write hello on here and just go and get a white or a wet damp cloth and wipe it off, it's still going to kind of appear on there after it's dry, after the chalk, board is dry. So to do that, you want to actually prime your chalkboard. Yes, prime it. Okay. Now, when I first saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So after like a year or 2 of making these things, and I'm like, why is my chalk still showing up on my chalkboard? Like, it's driving me crazy. You need to prime your chalk. So whatever part that you want to write something on, you're going to get your piece of chalk, and you're just going to, like you did when you were a kid, go over the whole thing with that chalk. Okay? Just like I'm doing here. You're going to coat it really well. Make sure it's on there pretty good. Make sure you're not missing any spots or anything. And make sure your chalk paint is dry before you do this, because then it's just a big disaster. So I just happened to think that. I'm like, oh boy, I hope this is all really, really dry. Because I know I kind of rushed it a little bit. So it's looking okay. Alright, so I'm making sure that it's all good on there. And I'm even getting the edges, because that way I don't have to worry about them. Good. And you can't overdo it. I'm paranoid now when I do this, because I'm like, I don't want to have to repaint it again. If you miss this step, you probably will have to repaint it at some point. The chalk paint that you're using to do this stuff is not like going out and buying a really nice chalkboard, so it'll last you a while. If you're just using it for decor, that's awesome. It'll last you for a long time. Every once in a while, you might have to just kind of do another coat on it, just because it can get, dull from you just wiping it off and anything, like anything really. I mean, it's paint, so it's not like actual chalkboard. It's paint. So that's coated pretty well. It actually looks kind of pretty, right? Look how nice. Okay. So after that's on there, Make sure you have all of your spots. There should not be any like real black spots showing through here. It should all be covered with that chalk. Okay, so I'm gonna give it a second, and I just have a lightly damped cloth here, and I'm just gonna clean it off. Okay, yeah, it doesn't look as pretty as it did a couple seconds ago, I get that, but at least now what you write on it will not be permanent. Oh, I don't think that was dry enough there in the middle. Or maybe it was. I think I maybe have done that too soon. Okay, so anyway, you guys get the idea of that. I might just need a better damp cloth. Let me go get more water. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. Okay. So I just took that off of there. All right, I'm gonna let it dry for a second. Like I said, it's not gonna look perfectly black and beautiful, okay? Because you did just prime it. But at least now all of your stuff that you draw or write on this is not going to always be there, okay? So I'm just gonna let this dry here for a second. All right, so looks pretty good, right? Pretty dry. All right, so I'm just gonna write you guys a message. There you go. So there's that. Okay, I'll even let it sit on there for a couple seconds. And then I'm just gonna get my little wet cloth here and wipe it off. Okay, so now it comes off. Once it dries, it's not going to be on there. Okay, so that's how you do the chalkboard painting. This can be used on any project. I know how much I struggled with wondering why what I was writing was kind of permanent on my chalkboards. That would be wise, because they actually need primed with chalk, okay? So that step is seriously probably the most helpful step I've ever had in doing this kind of stuff. So I figured I'd share that with you guys. You should know if you want to make this project, you should know it. So that's pretty much it for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I don't know what I'm doing next. My days have been kind of crazy. My husband's been away at work, so it's been like nuts here. So hopefully I'll be back on here doing another project. If there's anything that you guys want to see, if you're going through my Facebook and you think, oh, I would love to, know how to make that, please let me know. Like I'll go live with it. I'll show you how it's made. So help yourself to the pictures and everything that I post. Share the videos. If you know somebody who's doing this and wants to know how to do it, please feel free to share them. That's why I'm doing this. And yeah, no problem, Trisha. That's fine. Yeah. If I can help you, that's awesome. So, chalkboard sign. Remember to prime it before you start writing on it. Yeah, Jen. I never knew that either. I mean, I've been making crafts since I was tiny, and once I started experimenting when chalk paint became real big and everything, and I started experimenting with just the black chalk paint and writing signs and stuff, I would get so frustrated. I'm like, why is this on here? Why is it not working? And that's the secret. It's just you need to prime it. So, and yeah, you're welcome. Anytime, everybody. So if you missed this video, you can always go back and view it. And feel free to comment. I can still answer you and everything. So, alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. It's such a blessing. Alright, we'll see you guys later. Bye.